So it has been at least 8 months since the last time I did a movie review, which I'll link the previous movie review right in the description or in the pinned comment. You can choose which link to take. But I don't think people review descriptions anymore. So instead, they just read the comments instead. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about a feature film that has been kind of forgotten. Because me personally, I would also do anything for this movie to be popular, let's be honest. This movie is none other than Bolt. And to celebrate 15 years of that movie's release, at least since that movie's release, we are going to be reviewing that movie in this video. Is separated from his owner named Penny. So after they get separated, Bolt meets up with a cat named Mittens and a literal hamster named Rhino. So all three of them try to go ahead and find Penny. And so basically, sorry if I'm stuttering. I'm just a little bit focused on how mediocre my art style is. But, that's just how the story goes. The story's okay. And I'm actually glad that they're actually able to come up with a dog and superpowers, because Bolt is actually supposed to be a TV star. I guess his powers come from editing from the editors of the TV show, I guess. So overall, at least the story's decent, even if it could have a few boring parts here and there, but overall, story's decent. Now let's move on to... Okay, so out of all of the elements, it's easily the animation that's the best quality of this movie. Because everything is stellar. It matches up with everything. But I'll keep the animation part really brief, as it's obvious that it is pretty good, even for 2008 standards. So, yeah. I'm also glad that the characters are at least decently animated. Well, not decently animated. The animation is epic, but of anything, it's the character models that pretty much do well. So yeah, that's the animation part. We'll finally move on to... final part before I state my final opinion. It's the characters. Okay, the cast of Bolt is decent. I do love what they did with the characters here. What they did with the characters is okay, I guess. So our movie is focused on Bolt, like I said, who's voiced by John Travolta. I'm sorry if I pronounced your last name wrong if you're watching this. By the way, hello. With Bolt's owner named Penny, who's voiced by Miley Cyrus, which... The problem with Miley Cyrus voicing Penny here is that I feel like that was just a slight attempt for this movie to be popular, but currently right now it's not. I remember watching this when I was a kid, and I actually liked everything about it. We also have Mark Walton as Rhino, which is the hamster. And then we finally have Mittens, who is voiced by Susie Esmond. Okay. Overall, the personalities are okay. But me personally, my favorite character has to be Penny. No, not because she's voiced by Miley Cyrus. I feel like that it's kind of unfair that she has less screen time compared, but given that Bolt's the main protagonist, it makes sense that Penny does not have that much screen time. But sadly, despite being considered a main character, Penny does not have that much screen time. But we do have the villain. I think his name was... It was a Doctor something, I don't know. But of anything, the agent is more the villain than him since... Let's be honest, the agent has more screen time than that one doctor guy. Yeah, the agent doesn't really have a name. I mean, I know what the doctor's name is and all, but it's just that his name is pretty hard to pronounce. And then we had those pigeons named Joey, Vinny, and Bobby. Yeah, they're supposed to be those pigeons that Bolt talks to like probably around 20 minutes of the movie. But, you know, funny enough, those pigeons do at least later appear entangled somewhere. Let me see if you guys can spot where they were entangled. Which I might review Tangled at some point. When will I review Tangled? I don't know. But let's move on to my final opinion on this movie. So overall, this is actually a decent movie. But like I said, it can be boring in like a few places. But me personally, I would do anything for Bolt to be popular, like I said earlier on in the video. And I'm looking at the wiki right now, and it's a featured article. I'm glad, because... And I'm also looking at the wiki again right now. It has 310, I believe 310 million at the box office against $150 million. At least it did better than the last movie I reviewed in terms of box office, whereas that film had $169 million against $150 million on its budget. That's not really fair, as I think The Robinsons was actually an awesome movie. Like, it's a straight 10 out of 10 for me. But me personally, I gave it a 12. I know, over the scoreboard, but can you blame me? This movie is pretty decent for what it gets. And I can assume why The Robinsons and Surf's Up did terrible at the box office. It's probably because Ratatouille and Shrek the Third were taking up all the money. Ratatouille, I can understand how that did good at the box office, but Shrek the Third, I cannot understand it one bit. If Shrek the Third was that bad, it shouldn't have done good at the box office. It should have done at least okay at most. Yeah, it has 813 million, but I can assume why Bolt had less than, like, I believe WALL-E had more at the box office. Yeah, WALL-E had 532.5 million. I'm looking this up right now. But I believe there are some other films that did better than Bolt and WALL-E at the box office. Hey, yo, let me know if you want a WALL-E box office. Well, not a WALL-E box office, but like a review. I'm thinking of doing a Freebirds review, then a WALL-E review. I must have WALL-E done before 2023 ends. Yeah, I'm thinking like at least in December somewhere that I might review WALL-E. Like, hopefully I can get this done. Like, both those reviews done, but at the same time trying to balance it out with the Best Fiend series. Because I'm also working on episodes 1 and 2, which are planning to release on Thanksgiving at different times. The first episode will be 10 a.m., while episode 2 will be 12 p.m. And as for my scores for Bolt, Bolt is overall a 7. Animation is a 10. Story is a 7. And the characters are basically a 7. They would have been bumped up to an 8 or 9 if Penny had more screen time. Overall, I give it a total of a 7 out of 10. So that's it for my review on Bolt. I was glad to get this done. And I'm sorry if I stuttered and paused in a few sentences. Yeah, I apologize for stopping a lot. I had to look up some stuff. Because me personally, I don't like having to look up stuff during recording. Despite how quick I do stuff like that. But I'm glad you guys stuck around. What are your thoughts on Bolt? And what score out of 10 would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10? And I'll see you guys at the Best Fiend series.